Hi guys, this is Crossy and welcome back to the Gameface launch event. Winner of the tournament comes away with £200 in cold hard cash, and this is the second match that we're bringing you of the night. This one is going to be squaring off between HG.Fuse and eMotion RC. It's going to be played out on Nuke, and the players are pretty much ready to go, so we're going to see the knife round, and from that point we are into the game. I just watched a very comfortable victory for Team Infused as they came through and pretty much whitewashed Deserto with a 16-4 victory on Inferno. If you want to learn how to play T-side on Inferno, that is probably not the worst place to start, because they did absolutely dominate Deserto on that one, making entry picks at will, pretty much, as we see the knife round take place. Squaring off on Nuke then, which is still arguably a CT-sided map, but it's playing a lot more even, maybe sort of balanced 50-50 now, with a few changes that come in. Of course, the Glock is all powerful on the pistol versus pistol, and with back steps moving the front steps, two smokes can pretty much get you into that lower bomb site without too much trouble. So a few changes that have come through since the earlier incarnations of DE Nuke, and it'd be interesting to see how this one unfolds. So we are going to be underway with eMotion Gaming taking their spot on terrorist sides. Of course, the team that wins pistol has a really good chance of piggybacking their way through and taking the next two rounds after that. Bullets flying, and Angel comes out on top for HG.Fuse, and oh, that's a sick shot. Was on ball with RNX as he copped that one square in the face. And at this point we are sitting at 4 versus 1. Dwayne, last man with it all to do over at the T-Red container. He's got players swarming all around him. Dwayne does pick up one frag as Mr. X goes down, but it is the first round going in favour of HG.Fuse. And from that point they'll be looking to snatch the next two, and maybe they'll be trying to prove that this is still a CT-sided map. Could be seeing some kind of fast strat coming in here. It's like any plans of that had been cut down by a good little nade into the hut. RNX trying to spam through the glass and make something happen, but the only person that got tagged was him, and that's not done him any good because Angel is there grabbing the frag from on top of Yellow. It's a good spot, Yellow, but as soon as you're called and people know you're up there, it leaves you pretty exposed. You can't run away. You've just got to try not to get spotted, and more often than not, you think you're safe until it turns out they can actually see a little bit of your head and rip it clean off. HG.Fuse in the ascendancy here. Reaction down to very low HP for eMotion Gaming, and Truve also down to low HP, and he's cut down eventually by Angel. Last man left alive then, that is Reaction. He's got a Glock in his hand, so anything could happen, but 14 HP against 4, I don't rate his chances here somehow. Going to pop up these vents and pretty much fall to his death, I would imagine. Oh no, maybe not, he's caught Angel off guard. He's got spam coming in from the hut, but no. Not going to happen. And there's Hatton doing the job of the team leader and cutting down the player. Nice use of the Bison as well. That's a tough gun to handle at range, but he didn't seem to have too much trouble from up there in the nest area. And all we're expecting now is for HG.Fuse to mop up this last round. after grabbing that early pistol. But you never know. RNX taken down to very low HP by that nade from Stim, and Angel's in there to mop up with a couple of frags. Again, making use of the Bison, only $1,400, a very economic buy, but if you can make it work for you, then fair play. Nice bomb plant going in from eMotion, but aside from that, they are made very light work of, and it is going to be 3-0. So got the first buy versus buy round coming up here. Could be an all-important one. Pretty much always is an important one. Just jumped on the overview. You can't see a lot really on Nuke because all the bomb sites are on top of each other, but Angel is going to get a bit of action coming onto this outside area, and very wisely drops all the way back. Pretty much the way you got to play this. If you're getting pushed in, well, I guess you could stand out and try and make the picks, but a lot of people have said that the AWP isn't quite what it used to be, and eMotion have got themselves down onto the lower site. That doesn't mean that they're safe though, as we've just seen here as Mr. X is in there with the FAMAS again, going for the economic purchase, and it's paid off because he's already got 2 frags. Anywhere trying to make something happen coming in from the ramp area. 4v3 then in favour of Fuse, make that 4v2, as RNX had absolutely no chance as he's taken down by Stim from the back steps. Anywhere is not going to let this one go quietly though, as he's got Stim from the right bend, drops in the dark spot, and that's Mr. X going down. 2v2, chance for a bomb plant with 30 seconds left to go on the clock, and I'm tempted to get on board with Anywhere, who could be on for a possible 5-man. In fact, I was going to curse the commentator though, and he is cut down by Ralphie. He's seen Dwayne, he's stepped in, Hatton mops up and manages to come in from behind. Again, a nice little pincer movement. I think that was a bit accidental, but it doesn't matter, they all count. And here we are then, 4-0. So the first buy round going in favour of HG.Fuse, who have been looking very solid so far. Action in the upper site. How will they handle this? This is the first time they've been taken square on, really, as Hatton gets 2. eMotion firing in with a couple of frags of their own. 3v3. Angel trying to get into that Z room with the AWP, and that could be a risky little position there. I know he's got the smoke to cover him, but he could get sprayed down potentially, so I'm a little bit worried about him and what he can make happen from that position. Oh, well, he's proved me wrong. Smoke clears, and that gives him the perfect angle to take down Dwayne. Mr. X coming in, and RNX seems to keep getting themselves in positions where he could get in the spray down, but before he has even clicked his left mouse button, he's been cut down by the HG.Fuse players, and with them already sitting on 5-0, we could be seeing another fairly comprehensive victory here. I hope it's not the case, but you never know. Finances looking fairly comfortable for HG.Fuse here. eMotion Gaming not so much. They have got themselves an AK buy and full nades. So this will be the round where they're looking to make something happen if they can. Anywhere threatened to come up huge a couple of rounds ago with the chance of a 5-man, but it started off with those 3 frags that he's got on the scoreboard, and that is it. Going to see some action outside again. Angel has got some work to do with his AWP potentially. That smoke is going to completely block up that route down to lower. Now some teams will have one. Oh no, he could get pushed here. He could be in a bit of trouble. No, they've all pushed past him and gone lower. And what you do see quite often is a player will go into Mac, and we'll have a player here in main peeking out, because with back steps now becoming front steps, it is much easier to get down there. Angel instead makes his way below Crows, gets an AWP pick from K-Sharp, And he's now going to be trying to work his way into lower, as is the rest of his team, as Hatton gets one, but he's taken down by Reaction, and Reaction's got a second frag in short or quick succession. Make that 3 from the back steps. So he is on for a 5-man if he can find the AWP of Angel. Angel manages to barrel onto the site, and Dwayne grabs that potential ace from the hands of his teammate, which Reaction I'm sure won't be too happy about. So, first round on the board for eMotion. Of course, that doesn't say a whole lot, because they end up walking away with 2 or 3 out of this. Then that is not going to be enough. And what a time for a lag spike, because it looked like blows were being traded up there on the roof. Hatton taken down to 38. Reaction down to 59. Aside from that, everyone else is fairly untouched. We've got Reaction, and Auto Director is showing us a great example of how you throw flashes into upper through Skylight. Hasn't done too much good. Those Ralphie is there at the back of sight to make light work of Dwayne. He pushes through. Seemed to be pushing through alone almost as he goes through. Trueray does get a couple of frags, and RNX getting involved in the action himself. Anywhere mops up, final frag. And that is 5-2. So a couple of rounds on the bounce then for eMotion Gaming. It is not all doom and gloom for them, as a couple of cheap fast guns are dropped in spawn for HG.Fuse players who are a little tight on cash. Where things are going, there might be a chance of a buy for them, even if they do drop this one, and it goes to 5-3. In the meantime, we're on board with another fairly aggressive play, threatened aggressive play anyway. Angel cut down as he tries to push through into ramp. And eMotion looks to be coming out on top. That was a spray down, that was an eco bash once again. But we do see it go to 5-3. So Fuse now going to be getting on the buy. Let's see what kind of impact they can make here then. Going to see another fairly aggressive upper play. That worked quite well, but that nade did a lot of damage coming into the hut. And that was from Ralphie, and he took a couple of players down to getting on for half HP. Anywhere in Reaction, trying to fire back. So 3v3, make that 3v2 as Hatton manages to grab RNX from round about the squeaky area. And Ralphie, good control of his M4, finding the face of Anywhere without too much hassle. So all down to Reaction then. What can he do? Not a lot. Pushes through aggressively, pushes straight through into an M4 iron sight. And HG once again trying to open up a bit of a lead here. Would not put it past him to make that happen. But a few slightly more convincing signs for eMotion, who have managed to get into sights. Which is a big step in the right direction for them if they want to push forward in this game. Briefly witnessed nothing but spray down, and Angel came out second best as he squared up against Dwayne. Anywhere gets one, but he doesn't get the second. He's been racking up frags in droves when he's been given the opportunity to, but didn't happen on that occasion. Still though, eMotion have the advantage, and with Hatton wandering around looking a little bit lost there on the floor of A, he falls. Going to see an upper plant then, 4v2. Mr. X and Stim going to have to get themselves into the site. They do have guns and they do have armour, so there is a chance. And Stim is straight in there with one as he manages to get RNX, and then Dwayne for some reason pushes through and steps into his line of fire. I know Stim's on low HP at 7, but why would you even risk that? Reaction pops up through the vents, spots Mr. X and gets the kill on Stim. And with the bomb all but ticked away, we're going to see the 4th round get placed on the board for eMotion, and I imagine cash is going to be a little bit tight for HG.Fuse. Are they going to try and cobble something together? It looks like they are, but I know it's just Mr. X saving the AK. He managed to grab last time, so we are going to see an eco strat coming in from HG.Fuse, which they pretty much have to do. With Go Economy, you do pick up more cash if you lose rounds on the bounce, trying to favour the weaker team to this game now, but still they just want to make sure that they don't lose too many more rounds. Truve trying to make something happen, and he is successful as he gets Angel. Could have a chance at a second, but Mr. X wisely decides he doesn't want a piece of that action and instead drops back to the site, trying to keep it locked down if he can. Mr. X holding the only weapon in HG.Fuse hands that isn't a pistol at the moment, so it could all come down to him if there's a chance for a push into upper. Ralphie clearly doesn't need a rifle because he's just got one with his pistol. RNX and Reaction come in and mop up a couple of stragglers in the upper A site. 4v2 again. Mr. X and Stim, again the men that have to get taken down. P250 in the hands of Stim, and he does manage to tag that Reaction that he's tagged down to 2 HP. I think it was. It pretty much has to be, as Mr. X manages to grab Dwayne. Reaction's going to try and work something and get in behind here from roof, I think, or just try and protect his life for a bit. And that's exactly what he does, going to keep all of his gun. But if he got taken down at some point trying to get out of there, then it could have been 2v2, and HG could well and truly have been in this round. In the end, it turns out that they're not, taking it to 6-5. Maybe slightly worrying times for this largely UK lineup. Hatton leading at the top of the frag charts. He's had a couple of good opportunities to make things happen in the upper site. Hammering down, raining down bullets, if you like, from the rafters on a couple of occasions to cut down approaches into the site. A few smokes and bullets being traded, but that's all we're getting so far. Truve seems to be taking his time lining up a smoke. Auto Director, as always seems to be the case, lets you down right when you don't want it to. And here we go, we've got action. We've got one HG.Fuse player is down watching from the back steps. So Hatton gets one. We've got Ralphie down here back steps. Could get some action. Hatton with a couple of frags, and Angel with 2 frags to his name as well. So all down to anywhere. What can he do? Managed to sneak himself into ramp room. If he had the bomb, he could maybe try and engineer a plant at one of the sites and get the cash in, if nothing else. But he doesn't have that luxury. So instead, with 25 seconds left on the clock, best part of, we're going to have to watch him work a miracle instead. Gets one. Manages to catch Hatton with a little peekaboo through the window. He's got the angle here, but Angel comes out on top. Better M4 control than AK control there. And even though Angel was brought down to 4 HP, wasn't enough. Got the tag, but not the frag. And HG.Fuse rack up their first round after losing 5 on the bounce. Much needed. Have they stopped this early momentum? Well, they've stopped the cash flow and nothing else, as we see anywhere drop down, and he will get the plant here, I imagine. RNX does get the teamed kill in as part of this. But 4v4 bomb planted, even on Ecos. Truve manages to pick up Ralphie. They could grab this. Hatton seems to be the standout fragger, but again, he's mowed down by Dwayne, who's managed to grab one of the M4s that was available. Stim coming into back steps. What can he work? Manages to dodge a nade unscathed, but he's in a spray down. Does come out on top with Dwayne as they fight round about the steps. Mr. X wisely getting out of there. Stim probably going to do the same thing and protect his gun, and he does. He's copped by 4 HP's worth of damage, but not quite enough to take him out. So 7-6, this is a very tight, cagey affair here. And at 7-6 we've got HG.Fuse on a full buy. And Angel, after catching a bit of fire from the outside, does come out on top, but he's got more action here, so I'm going to get on board with him. Riding with Angel. How's he going to get that second frag on the outside? Yes, he does. Very nice work. And for the most part, Angel's doing a half-decent job outside, got to admit. Seems like he's deciding, well, with the way their finances are going, they can't really afford to have that AWP luxury outside or in ramp if that's the way they decide they want to play it. Angel's got more action, not going to pick up a third frag this round, but he'll be calling that underneath Crows. And we are going to see some action up into Crows. Stim and Hatton both have nades available, so if those go into nest, they could do some damage. Ralphie gets anywhere, and Ralphie could be in for another one. No, Truve comes out on top, not without getting tagged. And Truve's got a second. Can he get a third and the fourth? It's going to be a tough ask. 2 HP will have heard that footstep outside. Can he get the angle? Can he create something? Hasn't got the bomb to work with either. Drop into the lower and onto the vents. He will have been heard down there. Time ticks away. And it looks like neither of these HG.Fuse players are particularly keen on hunting for the frag. Fairly advisable as we go into the last round of this first half. AWP has been dropped for Angel, no doubt, to try and keep it tight on the outside in this final round. And if Fuse can come out 9-6 here, they'll be fairly happy with that. Did lose a couple of rounds on the bounce. Really struggled to get momentum during the middle part of this half, but so as you get yourself a respectable score on the easier CT side, especially with balance issues like they are, it could well be enough. Mr. X is cut down by reaction, and Dwayne in there as well. Going to be riding with Dwayne as he makes his way down into lower. Nice, solid, aggressive push down into the site. They've opened up the ramp room and then they are on from there. Hatton gets one, but anywhere hanging from behind manages to get Angel as he steps in the K-sharp. That didn't last long. Still haven't got the bomb to sight though, and Ralphie's got one. Make that two, backing up Hatton as he comes out into back vents. Ralphie with it all to do, but it is 2v1. It is possible to get the clutch here. No, it's not. And 8-7. Really like that play from eMotion Gaming. They pushed themselves into that ramp area, got the couple of opening picks, and then instead of messing around thinking about, oh, do we rotate, do we try and work something clever, nope, they just barreled down into the site, got a couple of frags down there, got the smoke on the site, got the plant. Sometimes you just have to make this game that simple, and it's come out well for them. 8-7, very close one. And with HG.Fuse taking this slender lead into their terrorist attack, they're going to have to try and think of something clever, I think. They've got to win this pistol round, if nothing else. Piggyback onto the next two. And there's plenty of bullets being traded. There's more bullets flying than your average Batman premiere, but still nobody goes down with about 30 seconds gone so far. Everyone take down the low HP, and Dwayne manages to rip Angel's face clean off as he goes and peeks that angle. Mr. X not having that though. Truve goes down at those back steps, bringing it back to 4v4. Still got just under a minute left to go on the clock as we see a push into the upper sight. Stim manages to catch reaction down there towards left vent. RNX going to be popping up crows. He's got guns aiming at him, but he comes out on top in the exchange with Hatton. Anyway, his nade is only to take out the door, blow that up. Manages to confuse Mr. X and make him look, but still he comes out on top. Glock is ever powerful again, and HG.Fuse take that first pistol round. So they're going to want the next two here. Squaring off against the CT pistol of all things, and that is pretty much where it's going to come from. But you never know, stranger things have happened. We might see an aggressive full push come in potentially. No, we're not going to see that from the CTs as we see them spreading out across the map. Ralphie got the MP7. It's a very cheap little gun, and we're starting to see some of the top European teams make use of the MP7, as Ralphie is demonstrating my point as he picks up a couple of frags round about the ramp area. Mr. X does get one as well. Hatton finishing off with the Bison, which has again been used in this match, the £1,400 gun. And these cheap purchases allow you to unleash a vast amount of bullets, and the way Go seems to be playing, that works quite well. You're starting to get to that position a bit like COD 4 was. Can you legitimately get a player with an SMG and send them into an aggressive type of position with the aid of a flash or a smoke or a combination of the both? I think it's starting to go that way. I think that could be something that you want to exercise, particularly on CTs where it's quite difficult now to get the same foothold that you used to. Maybe switching it up and becoming the aggressive team on CT would be the way to go. Who knows? But this is a new game. It's around about a year old, give or take a few months. If you put the beta into it, you could say that people have been playing a lot longer, but a fair few changes did go through it in the beta. As it looks like eMotion are going to upset the rhythm here and stop that third round go in favour of HG.Fuse. And it could go either way still. It's been brought back to 2 versus 2 with some nice work from Angel on the outside with the Galil. Getting himself under a bit of pressure, but he rides it out. Hatton knife position at the back, and that is not what you want to happen. You don't want to have an SMG in hand and let someone just barrel up the back steps and take you with his pistol, as just happened there. Hatton trying to spray down 1v1. That nade's going to do a bit of damage, but Hatton goes and tries to get aggressive on the angle. Doesn't manage to do it. And even though there isn't a kit in hand, I am thinking that is going to be round going to eMotion, and it will be. Or not. Oh, that was tense. And Hatton did just about enough. I thought Hatton would have played that one a little bit more passively, but it seems you can catch people off guard by doing that. Instead, he peeked round and went for the angle and just about managed to do enough. I wasn't expecting that. Either we were expecting a pause and we didn't get it, or Source TV has just cleaned that one up for us. But no pause, as was being called for in the chat. HG.Fuse is going to be buoyed by that fairly lucky round that they managed to get there in the end. Angel was doing oh so well until he got picked off by a pistol with his SMG in hand. That nade's done a bit of damage to reaction, and Hatton will have no doubt heard that, so he knows he's got one player down on the floor. Or at least not all the way up on the rafters. It turns out that reaction is actually on top of the hut. And eMotion look to be coming out on top of this early exchange with Angel and Stim both going down. Anywhere goes for a peek outside. That's something you can do if you're up in nest, is peek that doorway and bolster your outside player. It can be quite a good tactic to do that and peek that quite early, because you can get some shots off and pick off one or two of the players going down back steps potentially, which is now front steps and much easier to read. Anywhere gets the bomber, and with a bit of a spray he manages to get Ralphie as well. Used the crouch, so that looked a bit more like a Counter-Strike Source kind of spray than one from Go, but never mind. They all count. They all count when they work anyway. And Mr. X with it all to do is probably just going to try and save that AK with a couple of seconds left to go on the clock. Does succeed in doing that. So 11-8 then. eMotion starting to claw their way back into it. And it's no part an accident that Fuse have managed to push themselves into that early position as Mr. X gets himself pushed out and walks straight into Trouvé's AWP scope. Action coming on the outside and the stim goes down. Ralphie trying to make something happen, and he's collecting frags in bunches as 2 go down. 3v2, so still doable for HG.Fuse. Hatton needs to get himself a better gun if he can. Try and scavenge something. Maybe he doesn't as he comes in and gets Trouvé. Does grab himself an AWP. But he's got 2 players to find or a bomb to plant. Well, pretty much the 2 go hand in hand. As the bomb is down on the outside, Hatton tries to make something happen. Doesn't get that opportunity, and he's taken down. So 11-9 then. eMotion Gaming keeping it close. Worth noting that HG.Fuse have won both of the pistols on this nuke game. Could the rounds that they've managed to get off the back of that prove to be all important if this comes down to the wire? Well, potentially. You've got to look at those things. Anywhere spamming through doesn't catch anyone. You know, so often you go for those speculative spams and you might end up doing 20 HP's worth of damage if you're lucky, but it's one of those things that, you know, players will see the bullets coming through the metal and they will be maybe thinking twice about going up onto yellow or just chilling on T-roof. Reaction got a couple of frags there. It looked like they managed to get the HG.Fuse players blind because they didn't even react to that as a bit of a pincer movement came in from both sides of the hut. And eMotion take it to a 1-round deficit now. 11-10 in favour of HG.Fuse. Cash, well, I say cash strapped. They're all on about 2.5k or more, so they're just going to eco this one and make sure they've got enough cash to buy for the next couple of rounds. This will take it to evens. That's saying, of course, that eMotion don't come out on top, and it looks like they will, though, as RNX has pushed up and been a little bit aggressive, and he's got 3. Reaction's got 1 as well, and Anywhere mops up the action in the ramp. Nice work from RNX. He wasn't spraying that M4, which is something you do see from players. They panic when they've got 3 rushing at them, even if they know or expect it's a potential eco bash, but not him. Keeps it under control. Manages to get a headshot on that 3rd one in particular. You know, just keeps things in control. Make sure that his bullets are going where they need to, i.e. onto the on-rushing terrorist players. And yeah, really nice work there. Sometimes you might think of playing passively, but against a suspected eco, you probably want to get out and at least make an early call if you know that all players are going to be barreling in that way. Angel this time making a nuisance of himself with the AWP from the terrorist end as he gets Trouvé, who is he has been AWPing down in the sort of Mac area. Dwayne pushes up back steps. Very nice work as he catches Mr. X. Bit of an aggressive push there, but it's worked very well for him. A couple of times we've seen that where aggressive pushes have worked out well over these last couple of rounds. On board with Ralphie, is he going to get some action in the lobby? I don't think so. The Stim manages to catch Dwayne this time, and it was Stim that took the initiative rather than Dwayne and manages to pick himself up a frag. Anywhere jumping out into the back and gets 1. That's Stim going down. Has he got teammates coming in to back him up? No, he hasn't, because Ralphie's pushed into upper. Maybe wasn't expecting the reaction to be there on the site, but still, it's a bit of a strange push. I thought he would have wanted to get down and back up. Angel does the job, though. Gets the 2 frags up in the upper site, taking it to 3 frags for him in that round. 12-11 in favour of HG.Fuse, and momentum is shifting around, and this game is tightly balanced. Notice 8.4k, oh wow. There's me getting confused between my 3s and my 8s. I thought Anywhere was loaded, but he's not. And we are going to see more action as we see Hatton and Ralphie both push through into Hut. And that's one way to deal with it, as Dwayne sprays through the door, which was closed, and manages to get Stim and Mr. X through there. Very rare you get that lucky, but they did on that occasion, and Angel has got the AWP and really just wants to protect that as best he can. Misses that shot. Not the easiest of shots with reaction jumping out of the roof, but one you might have expected an informed, warmed up player to be making. So, bit of a questionable one there, but it is 12-all. Again, the balance tips. Very confusing round, really, from Fuse, who went and pushed through. I know it's terrible with the overview, but two of them went and got themselves caught up in the Hut area without too much purpose with it. I mean, Angel's hanging back, trying to work a pick somewhere with the AWP. You've all got guns. I don't see why you go for an aggressive push into Hut. And, you know, something that you find quite often as eMotion look to be putting up a second round on the bouncers. Dwayne mows in and gets a 3-man. Again, aggressive push on the back steps, working out well. They're not quite expecting that. And it seems to be a fairly common pattern here, is that HG.Fuse are getting caught out by players that are being, I wouldn't say hyper aggressive, because they're not doing that at all, but maybe they're not expecting to be faced by players in positions where they are, like back steps. And a couple of rounds ago when two players went and barreled into Hut, they had a player waiting at the door to spray him down. Angel going for a window pick. Had one opportunity, didn't take it, and then didn't get a second. He's dropping out and going to try and make something happen outside now. We're going to ride on board with him as he jumps up onto the box and gets a boost. Still there, and he has got some potential action, but it's not gone anywhere. Let's get on board with Truve and see what he can do. Might have a couple of players facing him sooner rather than later. So fairly passive play. And that smoke is maybe going to give him the opportunity to drop out. Means he can peek the angle if nothing else, but Angel finds the gap in the smoke and manages to grab the outside player. So that hasn't worked quite to plan, but with 30 seconds left to go on the clock, there isn't too much in the pipeline there for HG.Fuse, and they're going to have to work something. Reaction is bedded up in there in the nest, and he takes the bomb down. That's Hatton trying to get in. He's got a teammate coming in to back up. 4v4. A couple of nades in the nest would do the job, but I don't think there's any nades in hand for HG.Fuse to use, and there isn't. So bomb planted, but eMotion could be looking to take themselves to being one round away from the win, as Reaction manages to grab Mr. X through the smoke. Ralphie in with 2, Dwayne in with 2, trading blows. Stim manages to get Dwayne, and Stim mows down the very low HP Reaction. So that is going to be 13-all. And what a round that could have been. It was starting to look shaky for HG.Fuse. It looked like they might have left it just a little bit too long. But they come out on top. They are not staring down the barrel of a draw. They still have the chance to fight on. I'm not sure if there will be overtime in this. Unfortunately, I was jumping in a bit last minute to this Gameface action. But League format, I would be surprised. I'm thinking it would go down as a draw. I might get proved wrong. Maybe we'll get to that point. That would be awesome if we did. But Angel comes out on top against RNX and manages to work his way into the ramp room. Anywhere around at K-Sharp. Makes his way into the ramp room, peeks into radio. Angel's still there waiting for him, and Anywhere's getting hammered down, but combination of nade and M4 was enough to get Angel. He's done some damage, brought Anywhere down to half HP. They will know that. It will have been called. Looks like Mr. X was going to try and have a go, but decides against it. We've got Stim on the outside. And he is going to try and take down Truvo. He's dropped all the way back. Ralphie again is sort of clocking up the frags. He's got a couple of times when he's gone in and picked up 2 in very quick succession. He clearly doesn't mind working in traffic. Anyway, spamming through the hut. Is finally taken down, and Stim mops up, grabbing Truve as he comes in. So that is going to be 14-13 to HG.Fuse. One more gets them the draw, and are they going to try and close this one out here? Well, that would be their hope, but they are up against a nearly full buy from eMotion Gaming. Truve looks like he might be stuck on a... Oh no, he has got himself an M4, which is fine. Finance is going to be a little bit tight for the final round if they don't win this one though, and Fuse will have a little more cash in reserve. Probably going to be looking at a full AK buy if they don't take this one. Of course, that is the gamble though. If you buy up on 14-14, well, you have to buy it. You can't let it go to a draw. But if you do end up coming off second best in that one, then you are very tight in trying to force yourself to the draw. Far from ideal. Angel gets the opening pick. Anywhere firing back with a lot of help from Dwayne with the tag down. Truve firing in, taking down Hatton in the meantime. Mr. X manages to grab Truve at back vent, so good work with the comms again, letting Mr. X know his position. 35 seconds left to go on the clock. Bomb is up and in the hands of Ralphie, who's been a little frag machine at times. Managed to drop in 20. Those Hatton, after leading from the front, has gone a little bit quiet. Anywhere takes down Mr. X as he was half blind. Stim firing back, taking down Reaction. They've got to get this bomb planted, and they do. RMX coming up from the vents. And nice, solid holding work from Ralphie and from Stim for HG.Fuse. Coming out on top in the end, and that is the draw guaranteed for HG.Fuse. eMotion are stuck on the Famaces. And not feeling too confident about their chances as we see Mr. X go aggressive on the outside. Gets a few nades coming in his direction and decides against that one, but he has now got teammates for backup, and Truve could get caught out quite badly here. Watching for anyone boosting up on T-Roof, but they are not going for that. They are dropping smokes and they're going en masse instead. Got a good feeling about this round for HG.Fuse. I think this could be where they take it. Truve's got himself on top of Mac Roof. He's got a few players underneath him. Angel's peeking the angle. He's not looking up. He could get himself in trouble here if he steps out, but he does not. So, I would say lucky. I'm sure that won't be game sense that managed to push him back inside. Truve holding one of those positions that you don't always expect to see someone at various angles. And Angel lives to fight another day and hammer Dwayne in the vents. And does get to finish off the job that he started very quickly. Hatton gets one. Bomb gets planted. Anywhere's trying to make something happen. Trying to keep his team in this one. And he is doing a good job. 4 HP, but he has got a 3-man. And it is 2v1 in the favour of eMotion Gaming. Can they keep this alive? Anywhere is going to be trying to pick up the frag while the defuse is on. Anywhere goes down. Ralphie's got to push quickly to the site. And he does. Nice work. And that is, in the end, a fairly comfortable looking victory for HG.Fuse. They won both of the pistols, and aside from a shaky period where eMotion got on a big roll during the sort of middle part of that first round, it looked like fairly plain sailing for HG.Fuse. If anything, they'll be looking at that and thinking we should have made an easier job of that rather than them getting outplayed. I think will be how they'll see it. I could be wrong, however. Again, those of you that have been watching, apologies for the poor quality. That's only because my internet connection is barely able to handle streaming. So apologies for that. But I hope you enjoyed it. And with any luck, there will be some more Gameface live action coming in from me in the near future. So keep it locked.